Welcome back. We're live with Money Gang Crypto from the 9-inch team, celebrating Gary Gensler resigning, my favorite tweets of all time. We did this yesterday. For people don't know, we tried this yesterday. A 2-hour conversation was lost due to Streamlabs, and I guess that's on me. So we're going to redo it. We're going to talk about everything. What's going on, Money Gang?
It's all good, man. It's all good. We got rugged on stream, and then I got rugged on Sol, so it's all good.
Just now,
yeah,
right?
life's good. Yeah. It's dangerous out there, guys. Really be careful. You know, we're coming into this extremely bullish period, and the amount of scams you're going to see is going to be unbelievable. It doesn't matter which chain you're on. There's going to be so many more scams, more rug pulls. You know, you got to remember that all of the core tokens are coming up in value. They're not units anymore. They're now becoming extremely, extremely valuable. So be careful out there.
Yeah. I mean, meme coins are one thing, but there's a lot of actual scams over on Solana land too, which, you know, you got to know the game you're playing. If you're if you're trading meme coins and you're not expecting to get scammed or rugged in some of these, like, you should be expecting to get rugged 1 out of 10 times probably.
I would say so. Like the way that I've made money on Solana, there's probably 1 in 3 plays that take off. So you've got a 33% chance approximately of something really taking off, unless you're really understanding like the wallets and structures and the cabals. But most people don't get access to that or have the time to go through that. But yeah, it can be really rough out there. But there's a lot of volume, so there is opportunity there. Just be careful. We talked about yesterday about this, that most of the tokens now are being launched with the deployer, the dev will have like a bundler. So you can go on something like Dog with Tools, right? And you pay, I don't know, it's probably a couple grand or something like that. And it gives you the ability to have multiple different wallets that buy in on the token that you launch, like a second or two afterwards with different amounts of Solana. So what will happen is it looks like the devs deployed, and then there's like 5 to 10 different wallets that have just bought different amounts. And then someone comes in and they put in a hefty amount. They're like, oh man, this is going to take off. And next thing you know, like once enough money has been accumulated, they just rug. And you can one-click rug it because there's like 5 to 10 different wallets all bundled together, and just one click and it just completely destroys the chart and takes all the soul. So this is what you're playing with. This is the pump. This is pump fun for you. If you
had a sniper bot in that case, like they essentially snipe themselves with the illusion of multiple different wallets. So
that's right. I mean, you would get in early on that transaction, but sometimes they don't even run. It'd be like, the guy, you could be a dev and you could be like, okay, I'm going to put in like, let's say $1,000 to $2,000. I can then pull that out straight away once I see someone chuck in a few SOL. So like if someone goes, oh, I'm going to chuck in like, what's the price of SOL? It's nearly all-time high, 250. So once there's like 4 or 5 SOL, you got $1,000, you got maybe $2,000 from other avenues, and then boom, you're done. That's the coin done, and then you can deploy and do the same thing again. And these guys are racking up huge amounts of money, like they're doing, you know, tens of thousands of dollars per month just by doing these kind of things.
It's the Wild West out there, and the people that are quicker with more knowledge, more technical skills, they're probably going to beat you most of the time if you're just a retail person coming in. So new people coming in, every chain, we were talking about this yesterday, they kind of have their strengths and weaknesses. PulseChain, although it's doing better in terms of real volume, real users, liquidity, TVL, it's probably ranked about number 8, I believe, in TVL, maybe 7 now. And we got to appreciate how far we've come, how many chains we're beating. But when you look at the big 3 players, it's clearly Ethereum, Solana base right now. And so, you know, it'd be nice to siphon some of that liquidity, siphon some of that attention and volume, and bring that into PulseChain, right? We want to, you know, vampire attack is a bad word because there's obviously not limited attention out there. There's always more money floating around in the world. There's always more attention and bandwidth of consciousness in the world. But a lot of this stuff can be grabbed, and I would say pillaged from degen land on Solana and brought into a better ecosystem with real people actually standing behind their meme coins. Even if they are meme coins, at least some of these guys like stick with them for longer than just a pump and dump. Look at like Teddy Bear, for example. You guys have kind of built a similar replica of what has been successful on Solana, but that people keep getting wrecked on. It's called it's called Pump.Fun on Solana, but Coin.Quest on PulseChain.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole goal of it was we knew that the narrative was taken off. It's degenerate and it's casino, but there are people that really like that kind of stuff. And it's the ability to launch a coin. The LP gets burnt after a certain market cap and gets put on any of the dexes. So it could be PulseX, it could be 9-inch, could be 9mm, could be Fux. And it is basically an easy way to launch meme coins, and the fees go back to the users. So in Pump Fun, there's a 3% fee for every, a 0.3%, excuse me, free fee for every purchase and every sell that happens on the platform. So, and people get this confused because they don't understand what actually happens on Pump Fun. So all of those fees go to the developer, who is extremely rich. He's making millions a day. And those users never get that back, right? They lose that money. It's kind of pay to play format, but it's a very small amount. It's not too much. What we do is we allow a leaderboard system, and we distribute to all the users in that leaderboard who participate, but particularly the most amount it goes to like top 3, and people earn a monthly wage, or they earn a huge amount of pulse that gets paid out each and every month. And we incentivize the buying of tokens and the holding of tokens, and we decrease the point value on the leaderboard if you sell. So it's trying to encourage like holding longer term by incentivizing that aspect of things when it comes to meme coins on PulseChain. And so that is something that's been produced. We've paid out to date almost 100K. This month alone, we're going to be paying out, I mean, if I look at the leaderboard right now, 7 days to go, 25,000's been racked up. Top 3 guys are going to get in USD value 4.2K for number 1 spot, 1.1K USD value for number 2 spot, and just under $900 for the 3rd spot. And this goes all the way down. You can go down to like the 69th spot, and that's got $100 in there. So people are making money on this platform just by participating. And there's also a 10% referral code if you refer people in. And if you want a legit project that you're not going to just rug, you can attach your Twitter to your account so that you have user recognition of who's actually behind the token and who's the dev. So you can feel a bit more safe in a purchase, hopefully, of a good actor on Twitter, because it's a small little ecosystem, so everyone knows everyone.
Small for now. But hoping to get that ball rolling a little bit, hoping to get some users from Solana, ideally.
100%.
And with that point system, just I guess for people that don't understand, it's just based off your activity. Buys are worth more than sells. Holding is worth more, and that's going to dictate how much of the fees you get divvied out at the end of each week. Now, I don't use this personally, but we can't deny the meme coin trend, the meta of the cycle. There's memes aren't going away. So there's a bunch of attention over on Solana for degen meme coin stuff. You might as well get treated a little bit better for doing the same activity. Keep in mind that, 0.01% of all people on Pump.Fun actually won over $10,000. Now that doesn't stop anybody. I'm sure sports gambling and a lot of other things are just as bad. But if you're going to do it, try out this ecosystem over here.
It's better odds than the lottery, but it's up there in terms of like one that really, really pops off. But the great thing, I think, especially when it comes to PulseChain, is that we've had memes that have gone up thousands of X's. Life-changing gains. I think of like PTGC. I think of PDI even. Teddy's done very, very well.
Yeah, PDI went up 5,000X for the people that got in when nobody cared.
When nobody gave a damn. And even now, as we've been speaking, like P wrapped BTC, the copy, right? And it's all become this kind of narrative. And that goes back to, and I know this is going to sound very counterintuitive and a bit retarded. But it goes back to, we do actually have a culture of holding tokens way longer in this ecosystem based off of the principles of a hex. Now, I know the
Believing
hex
in something? That's fucked up, dude. How dare you believe in something?
We don't all G. So if there's one thing that Richard has really taught us, is that we there's value in holding longer term. And I know a lot of hexicans who are like, blasphemy,
Well, yeah, people are either, the most hardcore of hexicans, they're going to say meme coins are evil and bad. And that's, I don't really buy a lot of meme coins. I've bought them before, but I don't hold a lot. I'm kind of more on the conservative end. But then people on the meme coin side would say, oh my God, you got tricked into locking your hex up for 7 years. You're an idiot, but we just have completely different ways of viewing things. And that long-term mindset that was instilled in the hex holders means that from what I've seen from the people that tend to create projects, there are still rug pulls, there are still scams, but people stick with the things they believe in because overall we know we're trying to build PulseChain as a network. And that network was bootstrapped by hex holders that were like, well, we're locked in here for 7 years. We're all waiting for number to go up. Let's try to experiment with different ways of how we could do that.
And I think it's matured a lot with PulseChain coming out. I think we're becoming a bit less isolated and getting out there. I think we've kind of realized, like, you're not going to win people over by just shouting at them and telling them buy only these tickers. And also there's a lot of value to bringing in, like I had to learn the language of people on Solana and Base. I didn't have a clue about market caps. I didn't understand when they talking market caps, I was like, I don't give a damn about market caps. Don't matter. It does matter to them. It does matter specifically to them. Now, market caps, depending on the ownership and the supply and circulating supply, is very different metric. But for most guys, they speak in that language. So you have to learn the language and you have to kind of integrate yourself. It's like moving to a foreign country or being in a different kind of tribal group. And the benefit to that is, like, I got opportunities to go onto like Mario Narful spaces. Mario's one of the
Mario's
biggest.
Got 1 million subs, by the way, 1.7 million followers.
Correct. Every single week, I go on to his space for meme coins. And the benefit of that is, and build somewhat of a reputation. I get loads of followers from that all the time and interaction with people. And then I get to, like, at some point, when PulseChain really moves, actually, interestingly, today, you look at crypto bubbles and you see PulseX and Pulse standing out. People start asking me questions because they know that's your niche ecosystem. It's like, what is this? And we've not even really seen incredible gains. When we see it like really skyrocketing and the rest of the market's red, they're going to ask that question like, oh, wait, I know that guy. He's the guy who's in that ecosystem. I don't try and shove it down their throats, but I always mention it. And they will come across. I mean, if you think about what happened with Tron did a pump.fun. Solana, there was a documentary that came out that's like, there was a load of like rugs on Solana, and that there was like teams of people, cabals and stuff, like rugging them. And so Justin Sun took advantage of that, pumped Tron up significantly, and then launched his platform, which is Pump Fun Fork. And they wanted to know, how do I get across to Tron? Right? I knew Solana degens are like, right, I'm switching. Which bridge, which exchange? And they would find a way to move across. Now, that was quite temporary, but it did wonders for the Tron ecosystem. And that was the meta, that was the narrative. Couldn't sustain itself completely, but then they got brand new users that came across. And so what we will see in the future is we will have that moment where people will realize that this is an undervalued gem, is the most underrated blockchain out there, and they will move across for opportunity because they'll hear, like, think about it just from this perspective. PTGC, Teddy Bear, PDI, SolidX, what else has gone up significantly? There was the gift token. There's been a few that have done mad at X token as well. All these tokens have done quite a bit, but no one's really heard that much, like outside of the ecosystem.
They haven't gone truly viral, like across chains, across. I think we have yet to see our Shiba or our Bonk or whatever it might be. We probably got one. Might be one of the ones that exists right now, but I do agree that myself personally, right? Well, I've had to adjust my strategy over time as well to become less maximalist, even though maintaining, I say, maximal-ish, right? We still love the core coins,
Yeah.
but the Jehovah's Witness approach doesn't always work if you're talking to somebody and they already have something that they're interested in. I think there's some kind of an ethos sometimes of people online when they get really tribal. You notice this with Bitcoin maxis, right? Anything else that's not Bitcoin, they say, "Oh, that's fucking retarded. You're an idiot," and they're very exclusive, and that's not what we want. We want to be inclusive. We want to be
Yeah.
inclusive to meet people where they're already at. And it's funny. I know you were saying you went to a Bitcoin conference and found out that secretly every Bitcoin is really just trading shitcoins too the whole time.
100%. I mean, a pure example that I knew was a meme coin meta this time around. It's just the ordinals. Like a bunch of Bitcoin guys are starting to buy. It was like getting signed off on Hedron when it first came out, right? Like when
Oh man, people don't remember that. Even like Hedron was controversial. People were like, "Oh no, another token," and we had to like ease everyone into it. Like, hey guys, this is not a scam. It actually builds on top of Hex, and I guess we need to do more of this cross chain and get it because there's so much volume and liquidity that I see going on in Base and Ethereum and Solana, and we welcome that over to PulseChain. You could use bridge.pulsechain.com. And then once you get over there, there's some longer term stuff that hopefully you discover. Hopefully you stick around because you find more of a sense of belonging, some like minded people, and something that I'm going to hold on to this token because there's all these guys that I'm pretty sure aren't just, trying to pump and dump. Unlike, that's kind of the whole culture over on Solana.
what and also there's sub communities that make. I've talked about this before, where you got like Metcalfe's law and then Reed's law, and that Reed's law is an expansion of Metcalfe's law, whereby you get these subgroups that then are able to reach even more people because there are sub clicks off of the kind of main system. So I think about what we have on PulseChain, and we have us guys, the 9-inch guys. You've got kind of the, I guess to a degree, the kind of solid index guys, Axis and Randy.
People don't know what 9-inch is, by the way. It's the third largest DEX on PulseChain. It's primarily meme coin centric. I mean, come on, look at the name, right? 9-inch, 8 more inches than 1-inch. It's also on Ethereum too, which I thought was a cool move, launching on both ETH and PulseChain. So
it's on both. It's designed to be the best features of PancakeSwap, best features of Uniswap. We have V3, V2. We are getting a really nice update to that. We've taken Radium's some of Radium's features from Solana.
Like what?
We took the DCA tool.
Oh, that is that's a cool thing. And the airdrop tool, right?
And the airdrop tool, that's correct. So if you want, it's literally the easiest way. If you actually want to onboard someone, everything's there. The bridge there. We've got the scanner there. We've got deploy a token in like 2.2 seconds, super cheap. We try and make it as easy as possible, as like user friendly as possible. It's not as complicated as other DEXs, but it's just designed to be like that.
It's also got some single-sided staking and some yield farms. Right. I was a big fan of the EHEX PHEX yield farm. Before the Richard Hart kill tweet, I was trying to say, hey guys, if we get enough liquidity here, maybe we can peg it, Nobody wanted to do that, unfortunately. So
EHEX is meme coin now. The hexagons for that, right? Because Johnny Chaos would talk so much about like the kind of pegging or whatever you want to call it. And Uniswap betrayed the Hex community, and we came in and said, we can make this more gas efficient, number one, when it comes to trades. And if we get enough volume and if we get enough liquidity, the routers, so like, for example, the aggregators like Matcha or like 1-inch, they will automatically, when you do a swap between EHEX and PHEX, will go through us. Or like for ETH hex pairing, EHEX pairing. So we just needed a bit more because there was a certain cap. I think it was like 7 mil or 10 mil or something like that. And there just wasn't enough liquidity, and we weren't able to.
Well, that's not to say it can never happen in the future. Maybe one day. True. Maybe one day. But for now, it seems that PHEX is the darling for the cycle. Except for people treating EHEX as a temporary asymmetric. If the ratio gets way out of whack, maybe it snaps back. If you are going to trade it as a meme coin, though, bridge it over to PulseChain. At least there's cheaper fees over there. Or if you've got long stakes, or if you want to make a long stake, make it long enough so that maybe it's in the future where Ethereum doesn't have crazy high fees. I'm talking 2027, 28, 29. Eventually, Ethereum will fix the gas fee problem, but then PulseChain gets that too, right? PulseChain gets everything that Ethereum gets. So the long term, I'm not too worried. I'm really not worried at all. The whole debate is just tiring to me at this point. I'm so over it. Like,
it's a matter.
Yeah, like I've got my bags. I told you guys what I'm doing. Buying PHEX. I'm not EESing my EHEX. We'll see what happens. Everything's going to be okay.
And if you want to pair it up, like if you want to get ETH out of it, or if you want to get some, what else have we got here? Let me just have a quick look over the website. Yeah, we've got an ETH hex pair. Pays about 22% APR, which is paid in a separate token, and the trading back and forth fees, that's on the ETH side. Not much. Let me see how much is in there. Not even that much liquidity in there, so you could take up most of the liquidity pool if you wanted to. But again, or you just stake it. People find it a little bit better to provide liquidity just based off of the ETH gas fees, and it's extremely expensive to unstake, unfortunately, because of the S load function. But it's a little bit easier with the with an LP pool. But yeah, it's really up to you guys how you want to play it.
And me personally, I mean, I just use 9-inch when I do use it. I typically use it for the V3 pools as well. So
way better.
It's okay for a blockchain to have a couple different dexes. Most of them do. And although PulseX does have 91 or 92% of all the liquidity right now, if you want those bells and whistles, I see people sometimes complain, oh, PulseX doesn't have this feature or that feature. Well, 9-inch has all those other features if you really want them. But unfortunately, what the harsh truth is that, adding more features doesn't always just make your coin go up, right? No. Like it's all about marketing. It's really at some point we're kind of beholden to the cycle, right? The grand scheme of things, the macro, the Bitcoin halvening year. There's only so much you can do. You can yell and scream super loud. You can make all the fancy features, but if it's not a bull market, it's not a bull market.
I think we're coming into it.
But we are. Yes. Great times ahead. Gary Gensler is out the door. Man, golden timeline, dude.
Big, Bitcoin's just hit just under 100K, 98. Ethereum's starting to move. That's nice, 3.3. It's actually doing better in the ratio today. I was looking at it. It's went up 5% or 10% versus Bitcoin. Whether that sustains, let's see, because it's been difficult with Ethereum. Solana hit close to all-time high. And then, and I think what I would like to see, my preference is that we move up towards that kind of 110 mark when it comes to Bitcoin, and then a good sideways action, just like we had in March up until the end of the year this year. Right, so March to November.
Let's get some chop. Let's get some risk on, and people start speculating on other stuff. I mean, that's how it always goes. Trickles into ETH, trickles into altcoins, and when we say altcoins, that includes meme coins, right? Especially the more well-established ones. Yeah. And so we're at this 100K Bitcoin mark. It feels good. I'm still bullish on Ethereum. I want to know your opinion on like the SOL to ETH ratio, because it does feel like everyone's neglected ETH, but it's not going anywhere. It's got the ETF. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, and the ETF inflows have been good. Not the last few days. There's been a little bit of outflow, which is fine. But the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th were the biggest days. So we're currently sitting on the 21st, I think it is. So that is moving. And even if the ETFs are not moving, the price is moving up. So that's quite important. But I think you'll get a lot of people FOMO into Ethereum when they see the kind of Bitcoin at over 100K. And the reason why I say that is because of unit bias. So unit bias is kind of the idea that a lot of people can't necessarily purchase up 100K's worth of Bitcoin, and they don't necessarily want like 0.00000005 worth of.
Yeah, that's not cool.
So they may chuck a little bit in, but they will probably go, okay, what's next on the list? Because that's what retail does. Right. So they'll go down the list and they'll go, okay, this is number 2, must be legit. I'll buy it, chuck a bit in there, and then I'll chuck a bit in Solana. I'll chuck a bit in, whatever it is.
They'll probably buy some Dogecoin. I'm assuming with the Elon Musk. I mean, Trump and Musk are both memes in themselves.
That's right.
He's the Dogecoin CEO. That was literally his Twitter profile for a while, and also with the Department of Government Efficiency. Doge isn't going anywhere. Solana and Doge are probably going to get ETFs at some point as well. I know they just applied for a Solana ETF.
That's right.
That
Yeah, there
doesn't
was a
mean
one in
insta pump,
March,
right? But it just unlocks
no.
global liquidity to basically perma-buy, because a lot of these institutions, what they do is buy forever because they're representing 401k funds and they just never have to sell. So it might not be an explosive rocket ship, but it's just you're unlocking the trillions of dollars out there to flow into these crypto assets.
I mean, I've said before as well, I believe that Doge is going to be having an ETF. And I believe that probably Litecoin will probably have an ETF and XRP.
Maybe.
So I'm
They're all going to have one at some point, you know?
Yes. And it might just be in a bundle. So it might just be like, so the idea is that there's probably going to start off with a Bitcoin / ETH 50-50, or like, it's kind of like a mixed bag. And then they'll just add to that bag as well as kind of like a diversified portfolio crypto ETF, right? And I know it sounds crazy, but there may just be a Doge ETF. Now, we've talked a lot about Solana and how good it's done and what it's produced. I mean, let me just make sure that people understand that there's going to be 2.3x more inflation in 2025 than there was in 2024 with VC unlocks every single month. So, yes, Solana's going up loads, but you don't have that with PulseX. You don't have that necessarily with Pulse as well, right? All the tokens were initially distributed, but then you have the validators, obviously, that make some sort of yield. But so when you look at it and you go, there isn't that much in it. Like Bitcoin, probably the most you're going to get is a 2x. Ethereum
from here,
yeah. If we're looking at Ethereum, it's about 3.5K. So we're looking at maybe a 3x, maybe a 4x. Yeah,
I think we'll go past 10. After that, I don't know how much we'll tap. Maybe if we tap 15 or 20, it's very temporary.
That would be cool. I mean, if it goes to 15, 20, I mean, I'm going to be super freaking bullish. But even if it gets to 10, it's awesome, in my opinion. Solana, I think, is going to be about 650 to maybe 1,000 if they get the ETF. But the ETF will be like probably the top.
Sure.
And then you look down the list. So you look down the list and you go, right, from this point here, the max you're going to get probably is a 4x on Solana. The max you're going to get on ETH is probably a 3-4x. The max you're going to get on Bitcoin is a 2x. Where's the opportunity? Most people ain't going to be satisfied with that unless you got a huge amount of money and you're happy with just a 200% or 300% gain. I think that the real money is in the new networks and the new layer ones, and also meme coins as well. So and I think one of the best places is our place.
Yeah, PulseChain is asymmetric. We've been saying it for over a year and a half. You could still buy it at cheaper prices than people that join the sacrifice, like me and you. You could still buy it at cheaper prices, and there is at least 10x likely on the table when you want to compare it to Bitcoin and Ethereum. It seems inevitable. The on-chain metrics don't lie, so there's somewhat of a divergence there. Social metrics are through the roof. Ask any crypto mainstream influencer. Every time they mention HEX, they get swarmed in the comment section, whether it's YouTube or Twitter. So that's social metrics, $30-40 million of daily volume going through PulseX, something like almost $500 million of TVL on PulseX, the DEX, the primary DEX, app.pulsex.com. Yeah, and it's like ranked number 8 out of all the DEXs. Like number 8 for a chain that's only 1.5 years old, competing with things that have been around for a full cycle, 4 or 5 years. I mean, you can't lie about on-chain data. So.
And look at who we're competing with. Like, say, got dropped off a cliff. Aptos didn't do well. There was 6 different chains that were brand new layer ones. Tia, that didn't do well.
Tia, and Mantle, all these layer 2s are just lackluster.
And then the only one that's been holding against us or slightly ahead would be Sui, which is heavily VC backed, by the way. Rao Pao is one of the parts of the chair and heavy in that. And it just had a problem today where the network went down and they stopped. like Sui went down today.
And
right?
do you want to
Did
know
a
how
bit of Solana.
ridiculous that is when you talk about Raoul Paul and insiders that own the mainstream crypto media? Is I saw an article on the Milk Road newsletter that claiming that the Sui outage reminded them of Solana, and could Sui be the next Solana? Sui goes out too. I'm like, how ridiculous of who is writing this stuff? You've got a big bag of Solana, whoever is controlling the narrative here. And all these
100%.
VC coins, we want people to know PulseChain doesn't have those negative externalities of token unlocks. And half the reason I think Solana has a lot of these meme coins, some of them are organic, some of them are just the people making funny memes. But I have a hunch that some of these meme coins are actually just VCs that need exit liquidity as well. And they realize that their layer twos aren't working out, like Mantle or Linnaeus, whatever big brain mid curve tech they invested in. We're not buying it anymore. Meme coins are actually like a direct, Sami talks about this all the time, a direct rejection of the status quo. Retail's tired of getting dumped on by big hedge funds and stuff. So crypto's for the people. They're making meme coins. But even those VCs are probably starting to manufacture their own memes, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%.
I was talking to DCC and he thinks that chill guy meme, he thinks it's a psyop. I'm like, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, could be a psyop.
I mean, you just never know with these things, right? I mean, what I can say about PulseChain is that a lot of communities out there actually forming. Everyone's carving out a little niche for themselves. You've got the Atropa thing and the PDI narrative going on. That kind of dominated the PRC20 altcoin talk. You've got Teddy Bear. You've got the Richard Hart lore. You got coins like Diamond and Ducky that all relate to Richard Hart and that saga of that. You've got obviously the funny dick jokes. You've got 9-inch and dick with butt and and fart token and BBC. Just crude humor. Everyone likes a good chuckle. Farts are universally funny. Even uncontacted tribes in Africa think that they're funny. You've got, he went away. Let's get him back. You've got all kinds of different meme coins. You've got the Atropa thing, whatever that is. You've got the Atropa thing carving out a sector for itself. What are the other categories? You got Pokemon. I guess
Pokemon.
maybe would get a little diluted if they really do all the Pokemon, but you got some Pokemon like Meowth or whatever, Gengar, that actually kind of showed some strength, I guess.
We gave away an airdrop to all users that verified. The airdrop was around $1,500. The 9
Ninetales.
Yeah, and it's holding around $500 if you got in on that airdrop. Just free money to the people.
Well, thanks I didn't get any, but thanks for giving everyone else the free money.
That's right.
What did you have to do to qualify?
You just had to verify on Twitter.
Wow.
Your wallet on Twitter. So yeah.
Well,
doxing your wallet, I guess. I don't.
I've already got a public donation wall. I guess that was the easiest $500 I've ever missed.
1,500. If you cheated on the first day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 1.5K. That was just kind of given out.
Sometimes being a Twitter addict actually pays off. I guess I was must have been busy that day.
Shout out to K9 and Kino. They were the guys behind it. I didn't have any say in it. I didn't even know that they were handling that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that K9 guy has been around for a while. He's seen a lot, right? You were saying he used to be big into BSC and now giving back to PulseChain. It's good to see.
K9 is like, when you look at the team when it comes to 9-inch, we're very, very different. All of us. Like Hexy's mad. I'm a little bit more controlled. We've got Kino, who's just like super dev. And we've got K9, who for the most part was kind of behind the scenes now, really, really quiet. And then what you realize, I just speak to him and he's just so extremely knowledgeable about what's going on. He'll make incredible observations and he's very pro what's going on in the crypto space. I think a lot of Hexicans didn't like him because he did the Pulse Doge, but not the rugged one. The one that actually did 1,000x on BSC.
That was the problem, is that there was two of them, and one of them. That's right. Yeah. It gets confusing out here. There's a lot of very similar names.
They stole the original. The original had been on Binance, and it had done over 1,000x. I think it had done over 10,000x. I might be wrong on that, but I know 100% it was over 1,000x. And brought a load of the BSC guys across to PulseChain, before PulseChain was PulseChain, to PulseChain. So a lot of people knew of that, and they did the memes with, you might have seen like the dog that looks like Richard Hart, and even when Eric Wall and Richard Hart were sat down, you think of that famous picture where they're in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
There's a phone that is on the table that has the meme, because they're copying the meme. So the actual pose, I can send it to you afterwards because it's a bit mad. If you zoom in on the iPhone, you'll see the meme that was created by the Pulse Doges, which was K9 and Kino.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't heard that little.
You know
egg.
that like Eric is like he's kind of leaning in to Richard, and then like it's kind of a weird photo.
Yeah,
it's from the meme that they originally made. Yes, yeah. I'll show
Eric
it to you
Wall
afterwards.
guy he's got to be. I mean, he's definitely playing a role. He's definitely leaning into the troll. I think he probably actually likes Richard. I wouldn't be surprised if he owns PulseChain.
He does own PulseChain. He owns
or a big
Pulse
bag of hex, actually.
Every hater has some amount. Let's make it very, very clear. They FUD at certain periods in order to reduce the price, and then they'll play the good guy, bad guy. They'll do certain things. They may not like the individuals around it, but I think Eric is just trolling. Like people really get wound up. It's very good engagement baiting. It's very
He really
good.
baits people into these giant debates. Incredible. It's like you gotta realize what he is. He's just playing the troll, and some people fall for it. Hey, I guess it's publicity to a degree.
And he trolls the maxis and BTC maxis. Bro, he was on stage in a wizard outfit, which is part of the Ordinals collection he was doing with I forget the other Swedish or Finnish guy, and they were just trolling. I think they were on stage with Sailor, and it's like,
that's just what he does.
It's the way he is, and he goes after the BTC maxis, and he realizes there's a carbon copy, which is the Hexkins, right? Like they are literally a carbon copy of BTC maxis.
We do get pretty religious, yeah. There is a whole book of ideology, right? The book of PulseChain or whatever. It's like the Richard Hart religion, and
yeah.
I might not go to church every day, but I do respect it, you know.
Well, you know, I don't know if given my experiences this year, I don't know if I'd want to be on El Hexico. Depends who's on there, really. But no, there's some good guys. I mean, the one thing I'll say about particularly the Hex PulseChain community, whenever you meet people IRL in person, it's great, amazing, awesome people.
Yeah, I've met some great people over the past couple of years.
Just really great people, generous, very interesting lives as well. And you know, they have a common goal, and the common goal is that we're trying to become one of the biggest communities in crypto, and we're trying to take over. That's just the goal. Like we're out there, and that's why we're in the bear market. This is why we're on camera doing these things. It's like
maybe it'd be a good time to plug some of the events coming up too. We've got a conference in Vegas. I think we're both going.
That's right.
I want to just really quickly give a plug to Kalen. If you have a project on PulseChain and you want to promote that project, there's going to be a pitch fest, and you can also potentially get a booth at this conference. Talk to Kalen. Go to PulseChainTour.com, and if you want to get your project in front of a bunch of PulseChain folks and maybe some outsiders that come along too, it'd be a good place to network. I think it went pretty well last year with 5 or 6 projects or so that did a pitch. Not all of them came to fruition, but a couple of them did. So again, if you want, it's not a hackathon. It's more of a pitch competition / get your own little booth or room, and you can give a little bit of a talk about your project if you want to. I think the winner gets $2,500. So
awesome.
But more importantly than the money, it's just more about exposure, basically. PulseChainTour.com.
It's going to be good. We're going to be in Vegas. There's myself. There's Hexy's coming. I know that for sure. Cool. I've worked that out. B Roots. We got Access Alive.
Be good to meet B Roots finally.
Yeah, it'd be cool, huh? I'm really looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah.
Who else we got there? Yourself. We've got obviously RG3, Wild SJ. And then I'm going to bring over a group of guys with me as well. The Project Pi guys as well. I can't wait.
Project Pi is going to be a good one. We need liquid staking derivatives at some point. Someone's going to build them. So Project Pi. I know there's Vouch.run is another one. But yeah, guys, hit up Kalen, Black Hexagon on Twitter to get your spot if you are a project team that wants more exposure. Kalen, Black Hexagon, PulseChainTour.com. Do it now. I mean, just do it now, but so you're early, so you're not competing and all that. Also, there's a couple of events in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico Blockchain Week, December 9th through December 12th. We're going to be giving a demo, PulseChain demo, to a bunch of outside investors. The cool thing about Puerto Rico Blockchain Week is it brings together, successful investors from all different necks of the woods, real estate, tech, traditional finance, whatever it may be. And they all meet for a week. So on day one, on December 9th, we're doing a PulseChain demo. More importantly, at the end of the week, on Thursday, December 12th, we're sponsoring this crypto event called Limitless. And we're also having a party, a beach party. So if you want to come hang out, there's going to be a lot of outside investors, meaning new money, new eyeballs, fresh capital, not necessarily an echo chamber by any means. You never know who you're going to run into. And so we're going to be going from the conference, taking a party bus to the beach and doing a pig roast. We've got DJs, and it's just going to be a beach party for like 4 or 5 hours. And then everyone can go do whatever else they want to do. So just going to throw that out there. Again, this is focused at investors of all kinds. High net worth individuals, probably a lot of angel investors go to fund different projects. I went to it last year, and there was a lot of angel investing going on. And let's just say I've seen people throw a lot of money at things a lot worse than PulseChain. So yeah.
Sounds great. I mean, the PR guys are awesome. I think of like Corey Geary, Ben KG, all of them guys.
Yeah, there's a good 20 or 30 hardcore PulseChain Hexagon people already in Puerto Rico. So if you're thinking about moving, might be not a bad idea either. But just had to plug the events. What other community out there is doing these IRL events? Not many.
Not much. People go to the Bitcoin conference and they don't even like Bitcoin.
The irony.
The irony, right? They're shit coining.
So in terms of your strategy, I think on the last time on the stream that we rugged yesterday, we were talking about strategically trying to get users into PulseChain.
Yeah.
And my thought was that, the PRC20 thing was a good try. Effectively, what happened there was basically the PDI guys took over, right? It's kind of overshadowing any other ERC20, PRC20 narrative. I mean, yes, you've got PPepe, but as we saw in the early days, we tried to do a yield farm between ePepe and PPepe. And the ePepe guys, they just kind of spat in our face because they look at the copy like it's some kind of low rate bullshit trailer park version, or they think of it as a scammy thing sometimes. Not every community, I'm saying, but that's what happened in the early days. Maybe people will change their mind, but either way, I feel like PDI has kind of dominated that realm and the PRC20s and that whole narrative. So then we move on to trying to make these copycat tokens, which also gets a little hairy because, again, the mainstream, the original token holders on whatever Solana, Ethereum, if they look at a copycat over on PulseChain, a lot of them, they just kind of find it distasteful. They think, again, it's kind of a worthless version, and it's just a bias. Obviously, they're just ticker symbols. It doesn't really matter. And so we've had some success with like MOG or like GME, but I don't know if that's going to really get a giant cascade of people banging on the door. So my thought is like, what if we take some existing meme coins on Ethereum that already have a good amount of liquidity, take, let's say 10K, 20K of that liquidity, bridge it into PulseChain where it's actually cheaper, faster. It's hard to do that with Solana because you can't really use the cheaper, faster narrative. But with Ethereum established meme coins, let's say like APU token, for example, we bridge some liquidity in. That's one of Murad's picks. Will people follow? And that's the experiment that I want to run, is like, will people follow and bridge into PulseChain, chasing a coin they're already familiar with for a potential arbitrage opportunity or just cheaper and faster experience? And will some of them end up staying and even bridging more liquidity over? If that idea sucks, let me know. And I'm curious your thoughts about ideas as well.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. The only issue I always see with kind of any P copies is that many can come across and, if they have the P copy, they'll just dump, but and also a lot of those communities don't necessarily yield farm as much. However, like there are copies that have been starting to take narrative like PWBTC, mainly because you would need all like 12 different multi-sig wallets to authorize getting the Pulse version of the wrapped Bitcoin in order to then dump it on market. So then there's that narrative that's kind of pulled up. But I think, again, if you're a bigger guy in the ecosystem, these are some things, some tests that you can do, that you can play around with as well. And also just kind of, creating a lot of FOMO. I genuinely believe that a lot of the coins will, not necessarily the P copies, but like a lot of the native meme coins will really take off. And there's loads more opportunities for more stuff to come out. And it's really catching a trend or creating your own, creating some. I mean, the bear.
So be original is what you're saying. Focus on the originals, organic.
Yeah, because you can really, like, how do I say this? It's like when something, like, I probably wouldn't have considered Mudong or like what was the other one that's really Bonk.
Yep.
Until they really took off, and then everyone was talking about it because it really took off. Like I remember Bonk back in December of last year, and that was like, wow, and everyone was talking about it. So
or Whiff,
yeah. And
we haven't had that quite yet. It could be any one of these. It could be UFO, Bear. There's so many options out there, but it has to catch that trend. And I guess if people could predict what would go viral, then if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Exactly. Like the peanut narrative that took off.
So mad I missed peanut.
It's crazy, right? It's like
I should have known. The thing is, there was like a good 5 days where like you could have bought it before it pumped. There's always some cultural meta the next day. I mean, now they're showing what backed token. I don't think backed has too many legs to stand on. It's just the meme of Donald Trump gonna buy backed exchange but there's always something new. I mean, the Louis Vuitton bear. It is it's a real thing. I don't know.
People liked it. It worked, and it's taken off. And there's probably more to come. Actually, if Richard does return and does stream, there's going to be ideas that come out the woodwork. Because the more...
You think that's going to happen, right?
I hope so. I personally hope so. Because I've felt that it's been a community takeover in terms of the chain. And it's like, there was a lot of people that came in at 21 and they didn't experience like the earlier days. They didn't experience the live streams. They didn't experience all of that kind of stuff. They didn't experience kind of the expertise of Richard and why he became so popular. So I would love to see it. I know it's an annoying job. I know it's difficult. I know there's so much hate and death threats and all kinds of crazy stuff that happens. But I'd like to, and to a degree, obviously he's going to probably say like, you're retarded for doing this, and this, right? He'll speak to the community and be pretty frank. But I'd be interested to get his opinions, because obviously
I want to see if he's changed his mind about certain things. A lot has happened in a year and a half, and the market's changed. And we know Richard has changed his mind in the past about Ethereum. He used to talk shit about Ethereum, and he built on it. So...
And it would be cool. I just think that the followings that we've got have grown, and the reach has kind of gone out more. And I think it will go even more so when, like, he can go viral. Out of all of us, there's a few people that can possibly go viral in our ecosystem. I can only think of a few on my hand here. But in terms of real virality and like being one of the biggest guys in the space, he can do that. He comes back. Every big influencer is going to want to speak to him.
Well, I'm pretty sure he will come back. The kind of guy that he is, he's not going to be able to just stay away. The reason we haven't seen him, for people that don't know, is strictly legal. It's the SEC case, and it's his lawyers advising him don't talk. And I only know this because I've talked to lawyers that say, of course, that's obvious. It's so obvious to somebody that is already a lawyer, who, and they say, yeah, that's what I would tell all my clients, that you shouldn't talk publicly because anything you say can be misconstrued against you. Now, that said, Gensler's gone, and it's looking like a potential dismissal, fingers crossed, even if the case, let's say, takes another year. I don't think Richard's ego and his will to win is going to just let him keep sitting on the sidelines. I think as soon as he gets the okay, he's going to come back to at least to brag, and he might not be live streaming every week like he once was, but I think this interim period where he's been gone is at least taken the training wheels off and shown that the community takeover can thrive without him. But
it's not been easy. It's been super difficult, as you know.
But it is it is very hard. You know, I'm not saying that it doesn't come with its own challenges, right? You've got but you've got many people blossoming out and branching out and connecting with other communities. Everyone's kind of doing some contribution in their own way. Even just people tweeting, right? Reply guys on Twitter. Shout out to all you guys, you know. But yeah, when the holy leader returns, right? It's a real like Jesus Christ undertones. He went away for 40 days and 40 nights or whatever. But yeah, he will return for his people. I don't know. It's going to definitely be a pump moment when he comes back, but that's also going to be tied in with him winning the case. Like those two are going to, I think he wins the case and he comes back like the next day publicly.
I hope so. I really hope so. And I don't know if I can do super chats on this stream, but I'll be spending a lot of money on super chats. But the thing is like, it's like he can, with the amount of streamers and influencers and all of this kind of stuff. I just remember the Christmas message. Bro, how many people like reposted and reshared it on their profile, and how far in terms of virality did it go? Right, we know from certain influencers out there in the space, like talk about the Tates or something like that.
Right.
For example, Speed. There's another guy like who's an influencer, Aiden Ross, etc. What happens is you've got the big guy or the main character, and then you have certain other kind of semi-smaller influencers, and then just like a massive wealth of people that can clip it up and just send it out. And that goes viral. That's how virality actually happens in terms of the modern day influencers now and the modern day YouTubers. So it's like, if he does come back, there's going to be so many different moments, so many different opinions. I don't know if he's going to be loud and brash, but he's certainly going to have a lot to talk about. And
I don't think it's an if. I think it's a win. Well, I mean, really, that he does not have it in him just to like sit on his hands for the rest of time. He might want to take a back seat eventually, but he's going to come back to brag, and I think a lot of people don't see that coming. It's going to be glorious. He is the main character in the PulseChain universe, and him going away almost gives him this mythical quality of like, will he return? You know, and some people don't believe, and I think hopefully a lot of those people have just been rinsed out. Like if you're relying on him to come back and stream to make you feel better, like, and that's the only thing you're relying on, like, that's got to be pretty sad, right? But luckily, what most people have done is do what they can about what's within their control and build stuff and speak their truth and speak whatever they want to come into existence. So we've got that underdog story now, where if he does return, it'll be like the greatest comeback of all time. It's almost similar with it's on a smaller scale, but it kind of reminds me of Trump, right? They tried to come at him from every angle. Lawfare tried to throw the whole book at him. Richard Hart's what he's going through is like just a much smaller version of what they threw at Trump. And look at 100%. Him, right? We're on the golden timeline, so it's the year of the comebacks, maybe.
Super cycle.
Sure, whatever that means. I think super cycle is just like a word that sounds nice.
It does sound
Does anybody know what that means?
Super cycle, I think, is basically what the Bitcoiners have been waiting for their whole entire freaking lives. And they would have caught it on the first wave if they got in early, but, because those guys did get an amazing, incredible movement. But yeah, super cycle, the preconditions of a cycle that may be very, very good and may have, I think, in my personal opinion, probably a triple top, right? What I mean by that is you had like an all-time high, then you had a kind of drop off, then a secondary higher high, and then a third higher high. I think that you get almost 3 legs up, but I may be wrong. Not financial advice. But I really do believe that we will see pretty good pricing. I'm thinking about 190, 200K Bitcoin. But then where's the altcoin market going to go? It's really interesting to see what will happen. And that's exciting. All the preconditions that you want for crypto to succeed has happened. We've had Trump come in, House and Senate red. We've got possibly like a dismissal when it comes to the RH case. Gary Gensler's left his job. We're going to get a replacement for the SEC chair. We're going to have rate cuts all of 2025. We've got people talking about, particularly like Cynthia Lummis, who's part of the Senate, talking about a strategic reserve and potentially buying up some Bitcoin. We've got ETFs.
Imagine if that strategic reserve comes into play. I mean, if the USA does what El Salvador and some of these other small countries have been doing, buying Bitcoin for the country, basically the opposite of the Germany move, that'd be amazing. They already have a ton of Bitcoin they're sitting on. So most of it's seized and stolen, but they could, maybe something could happen there.
Well, the idea I've heard is that they have to get up to 1 million Bitcoin. So they would need an extra 800,000 Bitcoin.
My God, how much? That's like 1/18 of all the Bitcoin right now.
Correct.
What's 1/18?
And the theory is that all the ETFs, well, a lot of the big companies like BlackRock and stuff have been buying up Bitcoin, and that there might be just a handing over in an OTC deal or something like that. That could be a way to purchase it up. There's also this argument that there's like, I saw Cynthia Lummis talking about, they have these, I want to say these like gold, it's like a receipt of gold, or it's like is it a bond? I'm not sure what the exact word is. It's basically they're valued backed kind of gold. What do we call them? Something like that, yeah. They said that they've had them from the 1970s. It's just a paper representation of gold. It's complete fugazi. That they've had since the 1970s that are backed by the price of gold, that they may sell and then not have to take tax dollars, but actually just go and purchase up Bitcoin with that.
I mean, sure. That sounds great theoretically. I think I remember hearing a clip of Trump saying that, to pay off the debt, we'll just give him a little Bitcoin. That's all. We'll just give him a little BTC. I don't think he has a full understanding of crypto, but I think it would actually not be the dumbest move to invest and buy 5% of the world's Bitcoin, and then it doubles, which for a country is a lot,
They're going to get in, though. The European countries are going to jump in straight after that. Like, you get the biggest country, in my personal opinion. Again, I've got a Western perspective, but one of the biggest countries, if not the biggest countries in the world, buying. It gives the sign off for everyone else.
This is the greatest wealth transfer in history, right? This is the best asset class. That's the most highest appreciating, and you're living through it. You're lucky enough to be alive at this time. So don't fuck it up and be too smart for crypto, right? Don't say, oh, it'll never work, because you've been wrong for 15 years. Just join the capital class. I mean, it's an asset that anybody can join. You don't have to be an accredited investor. You don't have to have a 20% down payment on a house. You can now do what BlackRock is doing.
And that's the funny thing, right? It's like some guys are so prideful that they're better investors than BlackRock and the US government. All right, cool, bro.
Look, if Larry Fink is in, if it's good enough for him,
yes,
you can't argue against the crypto narrative. And obviously newer stuff pumps harder than older stuff. The uncomfortable truth about Bitcoin is that you are at the top of the S curve. You're lucky if you get a double from here. And a double is not life-changing for an average person. If you got 10 grand and you turn that into 20, that'll last you for a couple weeks, months maybe, but it's not life-changing. So there are many, many more X's on the table. How many more? I don't know. From the bottom to top, maybe 100, maybe even 1,000 in terms of HEX, PulseX, and PulseChain. So we're coming up at an hour now. I guess we'll leave the viewers with, if you want to buy these coins, go to gainpulsechain.com, link in the description below. They just added INC token as well. PulseChain's got its very own exchange, and you can go buy PLS, HEX, PulseX, INC token. And within that same platform, you can go buy any meme coin you want using the Pateus web interface. That's right on the website there. Chances are, if you're buying a meme coin, you'll also be routing through 9inch.
That's right.
So let's wrap this up. What do you want to shill before we leave?
I was going to say, man, it's going to be powerful what can happen in the space of a year. Just to give you an example, 2 years ago today, Bitcoin was $15,000 and it's now sitting at nearly $99,000. Right. So it's incredible what can happen. And the alts are even more crazy. And we haven't even seen altcoin season. We're not in altcoin season yet. You'll see altcoin season next year. So yeah, if you want to check it out, like I'm on Twitter, MGC, MoneyGang Crypto, twitter.com and YouTube as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't wait for the PulseChain tour. It's going to be fun. Vegas is going to be lit. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. MoneyGang Crypto, 9inch.io, coin.quest. Buy PulseChain or not. That's it. Your call. Do you want to retire your bloodline or not? Just kidding. See you on the next one.
Exactly.